One of the most astonishing things happening in the culture today is this propensity on the part of some to erase the portion of our history that people don't like. But what's behind this movement? What's really happening here?
Well, I think what's behind it is this progressive impulse to redefine everything in America in a negative way. And so because of this, the progressives and people like that are trying to say, well, since everything in our past was bad, we have to junk all that, get rid of the Constitution, get rid of American history, and move forward into this new utopia that they're planning with socialism and equality and so forth.
Do you think that scrubbing the past of all the so-called bad things in it is really just a way of mandating the present and the future in conformity with what the hard left wants to see?
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is the Orwellian aspect of it, and I quote George Orwell throughout the book. He who controls the past controls the present, and then you control the future. If they erase the aspects of the American narrative that we rightly have pride in, our various freedoms, whether it's religious freedom or freedom of speech or all of the things that America stands for, if they erase that or make us look back on it with this sense of shame and disgust, then yes, they can then write whatever future they want because they have disrupted our traditions, and it's in our traditions where we preserve our freedom.
Right. What do you see as the greatest risk? And I guess I'm thinking educationally, going forward in a nation that is trying to whitewash its past?
Well, the risk is that you will have people who do not understand the basis of what this country was founded on. Because Ronald Reagan said that freedom is always one generation away from extinction. It is up to parents to transmit that to their kids. And it's also up to schools, hopefully, to transmit that, although we can't always trust the schools to do that. So we don't want to be the generation that fails to transmit that legacy of freedom to the next generation, because then we'll have that extinction event that Ronald Reagan talked about. And to me, when we see this sort of rising acceptability in certain sectors of politics for things like socialism and anti-freedom, I see that as a big problem, because it's not that people can't discuss those ideas. Obviously they can. It's a free country. But sort of the acceptance that, hey, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's the direction we have to go now because we've tried everything else and it's failed. Well, that's their story, but it hasn't failed, and we shouldn't go down a road that we know is going to fail.
Yeah. You got to be careful using strong terms and strong language, but a lot of the tactics that we watch among these people seem to me to look like 1930s Germany. It's starting to look like fascism, in which the appropriate speech is defined, and if you're outside that definition, you're an enemy of the state. The left is calling current members, the president and current members of the administration, enemies of the state. It's a very fascistic kind of lingo that they're throwing around cavalierly. Do you have that kind of concern as well?
Oh yeah, there's this rising rhetoric and kind of acceptance of violent rhetoric and violent deeds. When we see speakers being shut down, shouted down, or people assailed in restaurants or what have you, and some people on the left saying, good, we need more of that. We need to track these people down and say they're not welcome or something like that. Well, that's not really America. You're not going to be able to put together the kind of compromises in government you need to run the country if everybody is threatening everybody else. Or, we've seen in the Supreme Court hearings of these paid demonstrators coming into the committee room and screaming. And one Democrat said, that's the voice of democracy. Really? Screaming in a committee room? That's how we're going to run things now? You can't run a government that way. And if speakers on college campuses are having their lives threatened by armed thugs wearing black masks, yeah, 1930s Germany, I think that's an appropriate kind of comparison, because the way down that road is not good.
Did not end well.
No, and it wouldn't end well here either. It would be very bad.